I have questions. Friends, is Donald Trump on drugs? And by that, I mean, is he flipping high all the time? And by this, I mean, is he doped up either with prescription medication or something otherwise that is altering his brain chemistry? I ask this, and a lot of people say, no, he's not on drugs. He just has dementia. Okay, guys, it doesn't matter. The man is not well. And so I would like to offer you in today's show a study in contrast between Donald Trump's either being drug-addled or fully demented, and the world in which we can inhabit when we embrace health, clarity, and the arts, right? Our PRISM plan. So let's first start with Donald Trump. And I'm going to share with you his speech that he gave yesterday before some cadets. And just listen.
Osama bin Laden, and the fake news would never let me get away with that statement unless it was true. But I said 1 year before to Pete Hegseth, I said 1 year before, where's Pete? In the book I wrote, whatever the hell the title, I can't tell you. But I can tell you there's a page in there devoted to the fact that I saw somebody named Osama bin Laden, and I didn't like it, and you got to take care of him. They didn't do it. A year later, he blew up the World Trade Center, so we got to take a little credit because nobody else is going to give it to me. You know the old story? They don't give you credit, just take it yourself. And it was the U.S. Navy that...
Okay. The reason why they don't give Donald Trump credit for warning the whole world about Osama bin Laden and being the guy who said this man is dangerous is because he's full of shit. Okay? Now, I decided to do what he doesn't care about, which is fact check him. And it turns out he has been bullshitting us for years on this. This isn't the first time that he has lied about this. So let's first start with actually the book that Donald Trump is talking about. So let's repeat for a second the lies he just told. First, he said a year before, September 11th, he wrote down that Osama bin Laden is someone they had to get and no one listened to him, and that he wrote it in a book. Okay, so as you know, 9/11 was on 2001. So that would imply that in September of 2000, Donald Trump published this and no one listened to him. So let's first take a look at what book he cannot remember that he's talking about. The book was called The America We Deserve. It was a hardcover. The first publication was January 15th, 2000. And his ghostwriter was Dave Shiflett. Okay, so to begin with, if you know anything about publishing of books, even at the publisher he used, which I think was Renaissance, I don't remember specifically, even with a book like this, if it's published January 15th, it was probably, done and dusted and in galleys, even a book like this by fall of 1999. Okay, so there's no way that this was published just a year, literally a year to the day from 9/11. That seems like a minor, discrepancy. Okay, so yeah, it was Renaissance Books. I don't know who that is. Okay, so let's actually, my friends, look at the operative language. There was a paragraph in Donald Trump's book that he co-authored with this guy, Shiflett. And it was a litany of complaints. Let's look at this paragraph. He says, instead of one looming crisis hanging over us, we face a bewildering series of small crises, flashpoints, standoffs, and hotspots. We're not playing the chess game to end all chess games anymore. We're playing tournament chess, one master against many rivals. One day, we're all assured that Iraq is under control. The UN inspectors have done their work. Everything's fine, not to worry. The next day, the bombing begins. One day we're told that a shadowy figure with no fixed address named Osama bin Laden is public enemy number one, and U.S. jet fighters lay waste to his camp in Afghanistan. He escapes back under some rock, and a few news cycles later, it's on to a new enemy and a new crisis. Okay. First of all, let us just be clear that Osama bin Laden was not a shadowy figure when Donald Trump published this book in January of 2000. Far from it. Why do I know this? Because, first of all, let's look at the receipts. Literally, and I blew up this up in the left corner, in May of 1999, Osama bin Laden was on the FBI 10 most wanted fugitive list. The reason why this looks like it's framed is because it was sold in an auction. Now, the FBI updated this in 2001, but just so you know, it was not like we had forgotten about him. So he was really on people's radar screen. Now, okay, maybe you're going to quibble with my saying shadowy figure. Maybe you're going to say, well, that's a little shadowy. It just means they couldn't find him. But remember, Donald Trump's claiming he was the only guy who noticed that Osama bin Laden might be trouble. So let's add to this. Okay. I want to share a screen with you. Okay. Because New York Times has archives. You can go through their Times machine and go back and look to 1851. Now, that is not as far back as we need to go, but let me share my screen with you. Okay. I went back. I think you can see this. Great. Here's my screen. I went back to search articles for Osama bin Laden's name from January 1st, 1980. All the way to December 31st, 2000, thinking at least by then the book went to press. And I've organized these by the oldest first. And he first shows up in the New York Times in 1980, okay? And it's in the 90s when we start hearing about a militant financier who's left Sudan, and we hear about maybe his involvement in the TWA flight, right? All of this is happening well before Donald Trump noticing there could be issues with Osama bin Laden. And then if I organize it by relevance, you can even see in 2000, right in the window, December of 2000, when he claims he's the only person who knows. We have, first of all, if you look at the numbers, 535 results. In December 15th of 2000, we have Yemeni on delicate path in bin Laden hunt. I mean, it goes on and on. I'm going to stop sharing this, but I think I've kind of made this point to you. Now, there's more, though, to this lie. Donald Trump is speaking to these naval cadets because the reason why he's speaking to them and actually acknowledging that they were responsible for bin Laden's demise under the Obama administration, by the way. The reason why he's doing that is to suck up to them so they will applaud in the way that the generals did not the other day. But I want to make clear to you that this is a big concession because Donald Trump used to say, now get this, Donald Trump used to claim that Obama had not actually succeeded in killing and taking out Osama bin Laden. He used to claim that there was a body double. I kid you not. He's been obsessed with this. He wants to take credit for this. Okay, now let's look. And I'm showing you this. There was, and the date of this was October of 2020. There was the Navy SEAL. This is the guy who was responsible for killing bin Laden. And in 2020, let me read this article that came out. The former Navy SEAL, known for his role in the operation that killed Osama bin Laden, is pushing back after President Donald Trump amplified conspiracy theories that the terrorist leader's death was a hoax. Robert O'Neill, who says he killed bin Laden in the 2011 raid, has rebuffed Trump and others in several tweets for promoting the conspiracy theory that bin Laden's body double was killed instead. Okay, so anything he can try to do to lift himself up, take credit where credit is not due, he will do. Okay, now I've got a little more demonstrating just how demented Donald Trump is. Something else from this same speech: he's on drugs, or he's demented, or he's both, and he's entirely homicidal. Let's listen to what he had to say.
But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens that pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they do. But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody wants that, so you can't do it.
Okay. Calling us gnats. Calling your opponents insects. Not great. Now, don't worry. The show's going to make you happier. Don't worry. Obviously, there's something wrong with Donald Trump, whether it's the cocktail he's on or his dementia or both. He is not well. And one of my favorite things from over the weekend, right? You know, we didn't have a show on Friday, so I didn't share this with you then. So this is probably from Thursday or Friday, was when Madeline Dean confronted Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. And the reason why this is so important is not just the confrontation that was videotaped, but also, right, also that Mike Johnson doesn't deny her claim that Donald Trump is unwell. Now, Madeline Dean is a member of Congress from Pennsylvania, and her leader, regardless of the fact that he's in a different party because he's the Speaker of the House, is Mike Johnson. Let's look at them face to face.
The president is unhinged. He is unwell. What are you doing? A lot of folks on your side are too. I don't control. Oh my God, please. That performance in front of the generals, that I didn't see it. Is so dangerous. You know I serve on Foreign Affairs and Appropriations. Yeah. This is a collision of those two things. Our allies are looking elsewhere. Our enemies are laughing. I just left. You have a president who is unwell.
Two things. You might first notice he said, well, I didn't see it. But he looks embarrassed. That's usually what people say. I didn't see it. They lie even if they saw part of it. I didn't see it. Okay. So maybe he didn't even watch. I don't care. He knows. The other thing is he said, when she said he's unhinged, he's not well, Johnson doesn't say he's fine. He says people on your side are unwell too. Now, first of all, even if that is true, right? Even you could point to someone who is deranged, even slightly, even close to what Donald Trump is. That is not a denial. And whoever this unnamed deranged Democrat is, they're not president of the United States. Okay. Now, I got a little more. Let me share with you one more thing about him being demented. And I promise you, we're going to get to celebrating PRISM. We're going to get to Crazy Town. But first, I want to get to the fact that Donald Trump is demented. He's either on drugs or he's delusional or both. But he is losing right and left. What he is doing, the violence that they are inflicting on people across the country, with ICE shooting people, with children being taken out of their homes in Chicago, sleeping naked children taken out of their apartments in Chicago, zip-tied, and put in vans separate from their parents. This, should I say, is unpopular. I mean, inhumane, disgusting, unlawful, cruel, evil, all of those things. But guess what? Also unpopular. This is not going to last. It's not good, but I need to tell you it won't last. Now, let me show you another example of Donald Trump with his ridiculous lies. He is obsessed with killing people and with war because that is how he tries to display his masculinity. But remember, just like he was trying to, it's like stolen valor. He's trying to take credit for predicting 9/11. He was trying to undermine Obama for actually having Osama bin Laden assassinated, right? All of this. He's also hell-bent on being an expert on anything when it comes to war. Like, he has an analysis of Vietnam claiming we should have won the war. The chutzpah in this, but let me play this for you first.
A brand new unit, the Navy SEALs, to tear up Mekong River Delta. Problem with Vietnam, we stopped fighting to win. We would have won easy. We would have won Afghanistan easy. Would have won every war easy. But we got politically correct. Let's take it easy. We're not politically correct anymore, just so you understand. We win. Now we win.
Okay. A couple things. He was president during the war in Afghanistan. Why didn't he, quote unquote, win? Vietnam. A couple things. First, saying we should have won, and we would have if we hadn't been politically correct. What does it mean to win? To kill more civilians? What does it mean to win? I don't know, but I will tell you, the chutzpah in this, of course, as you know, is that Mr. Donald Trump did not go to Vietnam. Do you remember this? When Howard Stern asked him, he just said, my Vietnam was trying to avoid venereal disease. This is the man who's telling everyone else that they should have fought harder in Vietnam. And why didn't he go to Vietnam? Shall I remind you? Bone spurs, do they ring a bell? Yeah, they do for you. Let's go ahead and share with you what came out. And this was a report from the New York Times years ago. Let's go ahead and play it.
Is bringing the president's past back into light. The report uncovered evidence that 2 doctors from Queens, New York, helped the president dodge the Vietnam War in 1968.
Dr. Larry Braunstein was a podiatrist who rented a medical office from the president's father, Fred Trump Sr. Braunstein's daughter says that her father diagnosed Trump with bone spurs as a favor to Fred so that he wouldn't have to go fight. So joining us now is the investigative reporter for this article, Steve Eder. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. When this popped up on sort of my news feed, I thought, oh, man, this is such an interesting thing. And you guys at the New York Times have been really relentless in kind of picking apart and some of the things that the president has said about his past. So set the stage for us, though. Who was Donald Trump at this time? Had he graduated from military college? Was he likely to go to Vietnam? Was he a candidate?
Yeah, so this
Not
is
military
50
college,
years
sorry,
ago.
military high school.
Valley Forge.
Yeah.
Military high school.
Yeah.
He was it was 1968. He was fresh out of University of Pennsylvania with the Wharton program, and here he is. It's a big point in the Vietnam War, and he was that summer after graduation he was declared available for service. Called to get his exam done, and at that point, what the records show and what the history shows is that he was ultimately given a medical exemption, a temporary medical exemption, and that's where my reporting kind of picked up, was trying to sort of delve into the history of that.
So let me just read what the campaign said when the president was then candidate Trump about those bone spurs. It said this: while attending the University of Pennsylvania's prestigious Wharton School of Finance, Mr. Trump received a minor medical deferment for bone spurs on both heels of his feet. The medical deferment was expected to be short-term, and he was therefore entered in the military draft lottery, where he received an extremely high number, 356 out of 365. What's your takeaway from that statement?
Yeah, well, I think that we've, in the time since that statement and around that time, we've been able to fill in some of the historical blanks there. I mean, one key point is that the medical exemption was actually, listed in 1968, the fall of 1968. The lottery didn't begin until the end of 1960.
Ha. So let's just remember, Donald Trump wants your children, your teenage boys, to be the kinds of people who would be drafted, not him. He wants other people to die for his glory. He doesn't want to lift a finger. Pete Hegseth wants all the generals to be physically fit, but not the commander in chief. What's good for you is not good for him. He's a domineering, deranged, maybe drug-addled, dangerous, hopefully soon dying of natural causes man. He is really in ill health. Now, one more thing before we get to the happy and fun stuff. Over the weekend, Mike Johnson tried to make the rounds, doing cleanup for the Republicans who have shut down the government. Now, I know there's this big debate about why the government's been shut down, and we've talked about the fact that in order to get the appropriations done, right, a budget can get passed just with 51 votes, right? But because of this reconciliation process. But in order to appropriate the funds pursuant to the budget, all the different committees have to allocate them. And if they don't, you need what's called a continuing resolution. The end of the fiscal year or the new years of government year started October 1st. And in theory, you need not just the House to pass a bill, which they did, but you would need the Senate. Not in theory. Actually, you need the Senate to pass it. Now, in theory, you need 60 votes from the Senate, and the Republicans don't have 60. But that's only an internal rule. It's not in the Constitution anywhere. And the senators could change that rule. The Republicans control the Senate. They could change the rule and allow this appropriations continuing resolution to pass with just 51 votes. They haven't done that, so they're blaming the Democrats. Now, why are the Democrats in the Senate not supporting this appropriation? Because the budget sucks. And what they're leaning into is the fact that one of the most dangerous aspects and the most costly and painful aspects for ordinary Americans of the budget is the cut to the subsidies for health insurance. And people don't even realize that they may be getting insurance under the Affordable Care Act. And there are, states largely, a lot of the red states in particular, people's premiums will go up. And that's what the Democrats are focused on. But there's much more to problems in the bill. And I wish they would talk about the fact that they don't want to give $75 billion to Stephen Miller. But they're not mentioning that because ultimately, they'll probably back down because it's a difficult space to be in, because ultimately it's up to Donald Trump. Now, the good news here is as much as Donald Trump and the Republicans try to blame the Democrats here, everyone's going to look around them and see, first of all, jobs report was really bad. Now, this is the jobs report ADP put out. They're the payroll people. More jobs were lost than previously had been accounted for. Now with the layoffs due to both layoffs due to not paying people through this furlough, but also the drastic cuts that Russ Vought, head of OMB, former Project 2025 guy, is going to continue, right? This is the same stuff they tried to do under Doge with Elon Musk. Now they used so-called fraud as an excuse. Now they're using not being able to fund the government as an excuse, and they're going to lay people off. I'm not a cheerleader for pain, but I also understand if you don't pull the Band-Aid off, there's a problem. And only when people see pain will they realize how messed up this Republican regime is. That's the way it works. People cannot envision what will happen next. No one, if you are someone who stops an accident from happening, because it's your regular job as an engineer on a railroad, or it's your regular job as traffic safety, or it's your regular job in quality control at a pharmaceutical company, and you do your job and no one gets sick and dies, no one applauds you. But it's only when there's a massive pileup or a major disaster where there's crashes in the ambulance comes in and someone saves you, that people get it. Okay. So unfortunately, I think people are going to have to see the worst of the worst before they realize how messed up Donald Trump's plan is. Let his budget go through or not. I don't know, but it's getting pretty ugly. So let's talk about what happened over the weekend. We have, of course, the Senate not, sort of in a stalemate over the budget. So what is the House doing? There's no reason why the House of Representatives could not be right in Washington doing their job, which would include swearing in the 218th vote, swearing in this new member of Congress who would vote to have the Epstein files released, right? There's a special vote they have been talking about. So let's hear what Mike Johnson had to say when he was questioned by Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation.
Speaker Mike Johnson joins us from Capitol Hill. Good morning to you, Speaker. Anyone up there to negotiate with?
There's not, Margaret. Good morning. Good to hear your voice. It's kind of quiet around here. It has been for the last several days, and it's very unfortunate because as we're talking, real people are being adversely affected around the country, and some in very substantial ways. I pray that more Democrats in the Senate will come to their senses and do the right thing, and when they have the next opportunity on Monday to vote to open the government, I surely hope that they will.
Well, you did send your lawmakers home to their districts, which suggests we've got probably another week ahead of us of this shutdown.
Yeah, she called him out on that, but there's more. He also made the rounds, as I mentioned, and so he was on with Kristen Welker on NBC. Let's play how she confronted him.
Speaker, still critical work, though. And as you know, many Democrats have looked at your move. They say the House is not in session because you don't want to swear in this newly elected senator, the Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona, who would be a critical vote to releasing the Epstein files. How do you respond?
It's totally
to that
absurd.
charge?
This has nothing to do with that. It's another red herring. The reason the government is closed is because Chuck Schumer and 43 of his Democrat colleagues in the Senate have decided now to vote multiple times to keep the government closed. We need.
Did you notice that he didn't answer that question? I want to listen again to the Epstein piece.
There is, Speaker, still critical work, though. And as you know, many Democrats have looked at your move. They say the House is not in session because you don't want to swear in this newly elected senator, the Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona, who would be a critical vote to releasing the Epstein files. How do you respond?
It's totally
to that
absurd.
charge?
This has nothing to do with that. It's another red herring. The reason the government is closed.
She didn't ask him, why is government closed? She asked him, why isn't the House in session? And he didn't answer it. And it's not a red herring. It was a legitimate question, Mike. Mike, you listening? We know, Mike. We know. Now, I got some great news. Okay. Like I hinted at, his plans are unpopular and they're unlawful. So let's take a look at, let's talk about something. So over the weekend on Saturday, there was some huge news. Okay. Donald Trump decided he was going to, as you know, last week, federalize the National Guard in the state of Oregon, like take it over from the governor and deploy it in Portland. Portland is a very peaceful city. There are people there who are protesting at ICE facilities, some of them wearing costumes like frogs. People are running in marathons. It's just a normal weekend. But he decided he wanted to do that. And so on Saturday, a federal judge at the federal district court in Oregon and Portland said, no, you can't do that. By the way, she was a judge appointed by Donald Trump during his first term. So let me share with you, I think the best description of this, you can see this on Chris Geidner's website. It's called The Law Dork. So the first thing that happened was over the weekend, the state of Oregon and the city of Portland sued Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem, and these folks in their official capacities. And they went into court asking for an opinion in order giving them a temporary restraining order. And just to remind you, what that means is a temporary restraining order is something where you go in and say, there's an emergency, judge. I want you to keep the status quo while we have a hearing on the matter. And the judge granted that restraining order and for 14 days. Okay. And that was on Saturday. So let me just let you be able to see this better. Maybe that will help. Again, so what was amazing about the Saturday decision by Judge Karen Emmergut, this was 31 pages. Chris Geidner described it as a blunt 31-page opinion. You probably heard about this over the weekend. So let me read you what Chris said. Highlighting that America's historical tradition makes clear that this is a nation of constitutional law, not martial law, U.S. District Judge Karen Emmergut on Saturday issued an order temporarily blocking President Trump's effort to deploy the National Guard in Portland, Oregon. She added that Trump's effort to federalize the Oregon National Guard likely exceeded his statutory authority and also likely violated the 10th Amendment. And okay, so that happened. Now, of course, unsurprisingly, Donald Trump immediately appealed that to the Ninth Circuit, friends. But there's more. And let me back up again and read this to you. So under that temporary restraining order from Saturday, guys, because I got news from last night too, from Saturday, that order was going to last until the 18th, which is next Saturday, not this coming Saturday. The Trump administration was temporarily enjoined from implementing Pete Hegseth's memo to federalize the Oregon National Guard and deploy them in Portland. And at that time, Steve Miller lashed out and called this an illegal insurrection. Okay, so that was what happened. Now, there's more. There's an update. On Sunday night, what happened? So that was Saturday. On Sunday, there was an announcement that now Donald Trump, under Pete Hegseth's orders, was going to deploy California's already federalized National Guard, move them from California, like Los Angeles, to Portland. And the theory was, well, this is the government's theory. Nothing in the judge's order said we couldn't send already federalized troops into Oregon. Now, this, of course, pissed off the judge. And so what happened next, I'm going to hide this. What happened next after that announcement happened was, even though Oregon and the city of Portland had in their hand this temporary restraining order about their National Guard, they went into court again, this time with the state of California joining them in this claim, saying we need now another temporary restraining order to stop the California National Guard or any National Guard from being sent in to Oregon. Okay, that's what they asked for. So last night, the judge scheduled a hearing, and it began shortly after 10 p.m. Eastern time. And let me just read you what Geidner said. By Sunday night, a second temporary restraining order was issued in the case challenging the Trump administration's National Guard deployment in Oregon. The new order bars the Trump administration from sending any National Guard federalized under this statute. They mentioned 10 U.S.C. 12406 to Oregon from any state or D.C. And the move followed actions by the Trump administration overnight to send members of the California National Guard to Oregon, and plans to do so they're planning the Texas National Guard. Let me continue. At a hastily called hearing on Sunday night, that would be last night, the judge harshly questioned the Justice Department's lawyer before her, Eric Hamilton, asking him, while noting that he is an officer of the court, do you believe this is an appropriate way to deal with my order? And there was more about that. And so again, the order came out. I'm gonna remove this. I did read the blow by blow on Blue Sky, the people who were watching this, because the judge let reporters dial in. And she was really angry at the lawyers, claiming that this was acceptable under the law. And that when she asked, isn't this just a way to circumvent my order? And one of the lawyers for the Department of Justice was pretty much saying, well, I'm not a policy person, I'm a lawyer. And she said, you are an officer of the court. And when you call someone an officer of the court, what you're saying is you don't just represent a client. Your law license depends upon your integrity and your honesty before this court. So that was a really good and big deal. Now, let me now share with you what Pete Hegseth had said yesterday before this hearing, when he was asked by Steve Doocy of Fox News what the plan was for the military.
The troops have been doing, the Department of War has been deploying National Guardsmen to dangerous downtowns throughout this country. If a young man or woman signs up today, are they more likely to deploy in their career to the Middle East or to the Midwest?
Well, I'll tell you this, the era of sort of reckless adventurism around the globe is over. We're introducing, President Trump is, clear missions, clear end states. I mean, even the renaming of the department from the Department of Defense to the Department of War is about clarity. We're not interested in endless, unclear missions. You go to war decisively with a clear mission to win it and then come home. So you're not going to see nation building abroad. In that sense, they're less likely. Also, President Trump's willing to stand alongside law enforcement and make sure they're safe in the conduct of their duties. So in that sense, they're more likely. But we're here to defend the hemisphere, defend the homeland, defend the border, deter China, make sure Europe does shoulders more of the burden. So I don't know exactly where everybody will be, but I'll tell you, we're going to be laser focused on America first and peace through strength, and that's what President Trump delivers.
And so then based on your
Stay out of the Midwest, stay out of Illinois, stay out of Michigan, go away. We don't need you here. The idea that people are going to join the military so that they can deploy with guns trained to kill to our cities to protect ICE. It's not great that we're giving $75 billion to ICE. ICE needs to be abolished. The people being recruited for ICE are people who have lethality in their minds, or people who are taking these, what is it, like $50,000 sign-up bonuses? I don't remember the exact number, but there are, it is a lucrative opportunity. It's $50,000 signing bonus. There are people who cannot refuse that offer. That is life or death for their family. This is sick. Okay. And I guess one last thing to make a point about is Portland is not burning to the ground. I'm going to play what Donald Trump has to say, and then I'm going to share with you what's actually going on in Portland.
We're going to look at that. It was amazing. Portland is burning to the ground. It's insurrectionists all over the place. It's Antifa. And yet the politicians who are petrified. Look, the politicians are afraid for their lives. That's the only reason that they say, like, there's nothing happening. And you've seen it. The place is burning down, and they pretend like there's nothing happening. So we'll take a look at the order. We haven't seen the order yet.
So if Portland is really burning to the ground, why is he out on a golf course all day? I would like to share with you again before I get to, this is from yesterday. I'm going to show you a video of Portland supposedly burning to the ground. But before I do that, I want to ask you, hold on a second. I want to ask you what you think is going on here, in the chat. Is Donald Trump, was Donald Trump high all the time? Is he demented? Is he worse, guys, than you think he was before? Is this who he always was? Curious.
I will say this. I watched today. I didn't know that was continuing to go on, but Portland is unbelievable what's going on in Portland. The destruction of the city. Well, I'm going to look at it now because I didn't know that was still going on. This has been going on for years. So we'll be able to stop that very easily. We'll be able to stop it. But, you know, that was not on my list, Portland. But when I watched television last night, this has been going on. You wouldn't be standing if you were the mayor. You would be. Can you imagine what they're doing? They're walking in throwing smoke bombs into stores. These are paid terrorists, okay? These are paid agitators. These are professional. I watched that last night. I'm very good at this stuff. These are paid agitators. They get paid money by radical left groups, not radical right groups, radical left groups. And they get paid a lot of money. And you see it with the signs. You know, they all have perfect signs that are printed. They look as good as that sign. Those signs aren't made in basements. They're made at professional printing offices, and they cost a lot of money. These are paid agitators, and they're very dangerous for our country. And when we go there, if we go to Portland, we're going to wipe them out. They're going to be gone, and they're going to be gone fast. They won't even stand the fight. They will not stay there. They've ruined that city. I have people that used to live in Portland. They've left. Most of them have left. But what they've done to that place is just, it's like living in hell. That's Portland. They keep showing him on a loop videos from 2020. What he's not showing is the home of the federal judge who stood up to Donald Trump the other day, whose house was bombed, firebombed, right? I think we need to show people, if you are in Portland or any other city, how beautiful your city is. Donald Trump isn't on the ground. He knows nothing. Now, guys, let's talk about PRISM. You know, it's been a while since we've done this. And what's so important now and always is our health. And to me, health is physical, our bodies, what we can do to be as healthy as we can, even considering whatever condition or affliction we may have. Health, relational health with others. As much as so many of us work alone often, that's not healthy to not engage, to be around others. Relational health, intellectual health, feeding our minds, not just our bodies. Spiritual health, again, whether you believe in a higher power or you believe in some kind of universal connectedness or just something that is unexplainable in the rational world that knits your heart and mind together. And then finally, mental health. Checking in to make sure reality in front of us is what we are seeing and dealing with demons and PTSD and the rest of it. And the way that I've been talking about, for me, the space where all of that, so much of that comes together for me is the arts. And I want to share with you what I did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all engaged in the arts and with others. And it was also relational. So on Friday night, I had tickets to go see, I bought this year because I recently moved to Detroit, season tickets, which gave me, I think, 6 shows to the Fisher Theater. And because I bought the tickets in advance, huge cost savings, and I got 2 thinking I'll go with my husband, my brother, a family member, or a friend. And I ended up going with a friend. And I wasn't excited because I was like, well, you know, I didn't choose this show. It was Beauty and the Beast. So my expectations were really low. No, you know, it's fine. I thought, whatever. It blew me away. I loved the story. I loved the casting. The guy who played the Beast had toured as, his name is Philippe, and I'm forgetting his last name, had toured in Hamilton as Hercules Mulligan. And I loved it. The lighting, the sound, it was perfect. And it took me out of my world. And just here is a photo from the publicity stills of the show. It was gorgeous. The dancing was
believable. So that was my Friday. And it was really nice to spend time with a friend. What did I do on Saturday? Well, I woke up sort of in the middle of the morning and night, and I actually listened to Taylor Swift's new album, Life of a Showgirl. And I'm not a Swiftie. I don't know what that is, but I love much of her music, not all of it. And this album blew me away. And that was fun. And so now, my friends, instead, in the intervening, some people leave a TV on in their home. I don't do that, but sometimes I have my earbuds in when I'm walking around and I'll listen to MSNBC or news. Now what I'm doing when I'm driving here to there, instead of catching up on the news all the time, because I spend a lot of time doing that, I'm now listening to Life is a Showgirl, and that gives me joy. Okay, what's the third thing I did? I finally went to this physical space with a friend, a new friend called The Shepherd. It's this old church. It's been renovated. And they were having an art opening. And let me show you what this place looks like. This is an aerial shot. But what you can't see is this is a neighborhood that has been, a lot of abandoned homes. That's now being rebuilt. This is down sort of on the east, in East Detroit, kind of close-ish to the river. And so this is old church, and there's some of the grounds that are beautiful. And they were having an art opening. And the art opening was curated from the collection of a person named Jennifer Gilbert. That name isn't going to maybe mean anything to you unless you're from Detroit, but she is the wife of, and has her own life, but I'm just pointing out, of Dan Gilbert, the founder of Quicken Loans, and that company has helped revitalize Detroit. Now, they have recently announced a divorce, and this is kind of her sort of coming out moment, right? And the show was incredible. But in addition to the show of her work, there was also a discussion, and there was an artist, a film about his work, his performance work. He'd been an Alvin Ailey dancer, and he's also a fabric artist and a sculptor. They showed a film that he had made, and they had a discussion. So I want to show you here some of the kind of gorgeous artwork from this exhibit. I try to have people walk by. Sometimes they were caught in the shot. And then here was the discussion. Now, I don't want to just show you these photos. I want to share with you a couple things. What I loved about The Beauty and the Beast was a discussion about the reformulation, the reimagination of it, something specific about Belle, the lead. Let me play this for you.
In London, standing in the lobby of the theater, watching the audience come in, and so many of them were wearing glasses. And I thought, what a way to have this connective tissue to the audience. And what if we put Belle in a pair of glasses, not through the whole show, but whenever she reads? So I called our book writer, Linda Wolverton, and she thought it was a great idea. So we put Belle in glasses, which she now still wears. And the reaction to it was intense. I went back out at intermission into the lobby, and our younger patrons were saying, and she wears glasses just like me. They were so excited. And so a new era for Belle now.
That was sweet. I didn't even know she didn't normally wear that in the show, right? I didn't pay that much attention. That was kind of lovely. Now, my friends, I've got something else, because this mattered to me as well. There was the artist who spoke at the event. Oh, you know what? I don't have the video, but this man, his name is Nick Cave. He's on our right. He's holding the mic right now. He spoke about how important it is now, more than ever, for us to focus on the arts. And my friends, I mean that deeply. Now, I got two pieces of good news before we get to Crazy Town. We win things, not just in court. Remember the very, very bad BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics guy that Donald Trump had nominated, E.J. Antoni? He dropped out. Remember Pink Polo, this guy with the sandwich and the chains? Remember, the jury refused to the grand jury refused to indict him. We can win things, but we need to show up. We need to look at reality. The biggest date you need to put on your calendar, and we'll talk about it again next week, is October 18th. Go find it. Go find it. It is the No King's Day protest. You can try to find it on an indivisible site. There will be a local event near you, or just Google No Kings. Oh, we've got Deb telling us, here we go. No King's Day, peaceful protest, non-violence is the way to go. NoKings.org. I'm adding. Oh, hi, Candy. I'm putting everyone's posts up here. So good to see everybody. I'm having a malfunctioning, but I am now. Oh, I'm loving this. Okay. So hi, everybody. I try to keep an eye on what's happening in the chat, but sometimes I'm so into what I'm showing you, I don't always get to see. I appreciate all of you for being here. Now, it is time for crazy. Oh, before we get to Crazy Town, Tank. We have not seen our tortoise Tank in a while. And there he is. He is thinking about PRISM, thinking about balance. Okay. And with that, let us go. Let's go to Crazy Town. I think life is crazy enough that we need a little crazy music. Okay, Crazy Town is Dementia Dawn. I just got to play this for you. The man is drugged up or confused or both.
Begin firing federal employees during this government shutdown.
That's taking place right now, and it's all because of the Democrats. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs with their it's a shutdown. It's their shutdown, not our shutdown. It's their shutdown.
What agencies does
and I hope everybody likes what's the Presidential Walk of Fame. You know that? Have you seen the? It's beautiful, isn't it? Presidential Walk of Fame. Thank you very much. Again, congratulations to the Navy. They did a great job.
Has anyone seen the Presidential Walk of Fame? I got a double scoop for you because that was not enough Crazy Town, right? Yeah. So he's delusional.
From the American Revolution until today, the story of the U.S. Navy is a tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and commitment stretching back 250 years. So we're celebrating 250. I almost thought I wouldn't get to do that because...
Wait, it's taking a turn. It's always about him. Let's go.
I was president in 2016, and then they rigged the election on me.
Listeners, he was not president in 2016, but we'll continue.
And then we caught him, didn't we? We caught him, but, you know, we had to run it again. I ran it again, and I got 250, and I got the World Cup, and I got the Olympics. Can you believe all of it? In my first term, I was the one that got the Olympics. I was the one that got the World Cup. And I said, you know, the sad part is, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't even be invited because it won't be during my term. I would say, if we're a Democrat, I might not be invited. They don't love me exactly too much. And then when this happened, now all of a sudden they got all three.
Always about him. So here's what I want to ponder. In my dream of dreams, if that ballroom is actually finished, it will be turned into a room for diplomacy, a room for something antithetical to what Donald stands for, a room about democracy, a room about coming together, a room about convening. Maybe that is a place where we deal with truth and reconciliation and have our country come together on solid values of opportunity, of care, of security, of shared prosperity. Maybe that can be a place. But before it's that place, I want to, because I think he will never dance in that room. I want us to have a giant inaugural party for whoever the next president is, who is a decent person, and then transform that ballroom into something for the people, not for the plutocrats. And with that, my friends, mwah, have a beautiful rest of your Monday, and I will see you bright and early. And thanks as always to the mods, Jason, Deb, and AJ. We couldn't do this without you, and who would want to?
Hello, prison mates. It's the Gen Taub show. Well, welcome everyone. Let's learn about what is happening in politics yesterday and today. There was hope, and we are together in this democracy we work for. And again, welcome to the Gen Taub show.